Hey, welcome to Joe's Journal. I've gotten a number of requests from our readers to demonstrate on video the three dialogues. I am a consultant, I am a negotiator, and I'm a person who oversees the transactional details. And so I thought I'd shoot a short video for you to watch over and over again. And I'm not going to tell you that repetition is what drives learning, because you've already heard that a couple hundred times and you know that's true. What I would like to suggest is when you're ready to achieve real mastery of my 17 dialogues that I present in the initial consultation, that you schedule a time to come to Cardiff by the Sea, come to my home here, and work with me in a very small group of people for 12 solid hours, and let me get these dialogues embedded into your brain so you can have the equivalent mastery that I have. And so what I'm going to demonstrate right now for you is these skills. I'm just going to demonstrate these dialogues. So number one is I am your consultant. And as your consultant, you may notice that I will ask you profound, insightful questions. Maybe you'll even notice that they're the type of questions that a typical real estate agent or lender might never take the risk in asking you. Experience has shown that a skilled consultant like me will ask probing, intelligent questions, because discovering what is really important to you is really important to me. So how quickly can you see that, as your consultant, it's important that I lead you through a process of clarifying your values? Because when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. And you want to make good, easy decisions, do you not? So you might also notice that consulting is really listening very vigilantly to your answers. What you may not know is that only when I have confirmed that I have heard you, then and only then will I craft a very specific strategic process to help you get the best loan or the best home or the best price for your home. Now, because I am your consultant, one of the things I do for you is appropriately define all the problems that we will encounter during the transaction, because we need to differentiate the essential objectives from the really less relevant concerns. And experience shows me how to anticipate likely obstacles to achieving your objectives, and then identifying really sensible means to circumvent them. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what happens when you imagine your consultant recognizing and balancing all the different needs of all the relevant people that will be impacted by the decisions that you make? Now, you may choose to listen to what I'm about to say very carefully. As your consultant, I will recognize when serious flaws in my own ideas require swift public acknowledgement. I make mistakes, and I'm willing to make dramatic changes in new directions when required. And I would like to suggest that you do the same. In the days and in the weeks ahead, you will begin to notice that I will consistently demonstrate my ability to recognize my own personal biases, and I will use this awareness to constantly improve my thinking. Because what is important to me as your consultant is that you realize your dreams. Now, my second role is I am your negotiator. And because I treat your money like it's mine, when it comes time to save you money or make you money, I am like a pit bull. And you, like me, know that money is a very emotional issue. And to represent your own, well, it's like performing surgery on yourself. You just never do that, do you? I mean, imagine being healthy is important to you. Then I would like to suggest that you delegate your negotiations to a person that you trust, a person that you really respect. Like me, you probably believe it's in your best interest to have a skilled, experienced, focused negotiator on your team. Now imagine what it will be like to have a person who deals with your money to critically examine the accuracy of all the underlying assumptions that are being relied upon. Now, what you will quickly notice as I am negotiating for you is that I will skillfully articulate the strengths and the weaknesses of the suggestions that other agents and lenders and other people involved in this process propose to us. And as a result, you will sooner or later become very aware that my negotiating skills alone are worth every penny that you pay me. Because I am your negotiator, it is my responsibility to recognize the likely underlying agendas and the motivations of individuals that are involved in this transaction. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you'll also notice how quickly I anticipate the likely emotional reactions of individuals to actions and communications that you and I make. Now, by now, you've probably noticed that as your negotiator, I will appropriately articulate the essential flaws in the arguments of others, and I will reiterate the strengths of our position. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, I will recognize when it is appropriate to resist the objections of others and remain committed to a sound course of action. And of course, my third role is to oversee all the transactional details. And in the days and in the weeks and even the months ahead, you will come to appreciate my role as the person who oversees all these transactional details. Because every transaction has maybe 100 to 150 phone calls alone. And each one of them is just loaded with critical details. And as you can imagine, every I must be dotted, every T must be crossed. Because there's over 100 different pieces of paper requiring upwards of 43 signatures and initials. And making a mistake, that could be very, very costly to you. Now, how does it make you feel knowing that there are 43 different people from 14 different industries getting involved in the 7 stages of your transaction? That's a lot of what we call is integrated complexity. Now, imagine that buying or selling or borrowing is like flying an airplane across the country. And my role is to be your pilot, and you're my passenger. And we will, or we may not, run into turbulence. Now, have you ever been a passenger in an airplane? Have you ever been in a really turbulent situation? Then you know. See, to make it easy for you to see everything that I do that you can't see from your seat because you're in the passenger seat and I'm up in the cockpit, I've created this list of 88 different things that can go wrong during the transaction. And right about now, I would show them the list and show them exactly what is on that list, and I would cover 8 or 10 of my favorite things on that list. Then I would continue. I would say, you'll also notice that as your pilot, I will always recognize what's known about an issue, what more needs to be known, and how to best obtain relevant and accurate information needed before I give you any advice. As a matter of fact, one of my greatest strengths, one of my greatest skills is to see things from multiple perspectives, which means I can identify likely unintended consequences of decisions that you may make. Now, you can relax, because as the person who oversees all the transactional details, I will recognize conclusions that can and cannot be drawn from particular exchanges with all the different people involved. You can be confident because I will appropriately consider the probable effects and the likely unintended consequences that may result from particular courses of actions that you may choose. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, as the person who oversees all the details on your transaction, I will pursue and I will encourage feedback that will reveal any error in my judgment, and I will make appropriate adjustments. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, it's good. You now know if I choose to work with you and you choose to work with me, what I consider are my 3 most vital roles representing